Hi there, and thank you for joining me. Okay, this is for real. Let's talk about terminal diagnosis and how to create a peaceful atmosphere for your loved one. You can share this video. The purpose is to help as many people as possible learn how to deal with terminal illness and caring for our loved ones, especially at home. Um, there might be times that someone needs hospitalization, especially when they have uncontrolled pain. But my encouragement is when taking care of our loved ones at home, which there's many advantages to it. So today, let's talk about providing a peaceful atmosphere for our loved ones. Um, First of all, terminal illness. It is when the doctor says there is nothing else that medically can be done um, for someone regarding illness, and the belief medically is that the doctors are looking at, I know in United States, about 6 months of life or less. That is what terminal diagnosis is. Otherwise, all progressive diseases are not always terminal. So if someone is diagnosed with cancer, it's not terminal as long as it can get treated and there's improvement happening. But when the doctors reach an extent of saying we've done everything, there's nothing else we can do medically, that is what is termed as terminal illness. So when it's important to know, and I always encourage people, okay, number one, God created humans with extreme resilience. So there is extreme fear that when we talk about death, it makes people die more quickly. Actually, studies show that when these subjects are talked about, it actually helps people live longer because people are resilient. And when people hear there is extreme shock, that then settles in. And when people can take care of a lot of their business, it starts to create peace. We see people that live really much longer than the 6 months, a year. And these are not comfortable conversations. But if we avoid these conversations, we end up not dying peaceful death. We end up not helping our loved ones have a peaceful death. So when your loved one has been diagnosed with terminal illness, or as a family, when you look at the situation, and generally speaking, when people refuse to mask, people know. My dad, when my mom was going through her last stages of life, and I was talking with my family, and I asked my dad, what do you think is going on? And my dad, even with confusion, he admitted and he said, yeah, I do see things are not going well. So when we want to take off our mask, we can tell when things are not going well. And the importance of this is not to give up, but prepare. I always encourage people Do everything you can do to prepare if indeed death happens, you have taken care of business than to ignore everything, because ignoring is not going to keep death from happening. What ignoring does is, number one, it's like trying to push a ball down in a swimming pool. If you throw a ball on water, put water in a basin, put water in a swimming pool, and throw a ball, the ball always want to float. And our efforts to push it down to the bottom makes no sense, because as soon as you release the ball, it comes right back up onto the surface. So that's what it's like to try to push down the knowing, the realization that things are not going the right direction. So, as a family, when you realize that things are not going well for your loved one, you can start doing some things like creating a peaceful atmosphere for your loved one. Do the things that bring them joy around them. Talk about things that cause them to know and to realize that they have made an impact in your life. Reminiscence. Looking back, one of the things that I was doing with my mom towards the last months of her life, and especially when I realized that death was on its way, was to constantly look back and remind her the things that she did for me, the things that she did for her family. So I would think of a specific situation and I would talk to her about it. Mom, remember when this happened? Do you remember how you did ABCD? And my mom would just start laughing and she would say, McKenna, how do you remember such things? Well, because mom, that really meant a lot for me that you would do that. And so just bringing up those stories and asking questions. So what were you thinking? What gave you so much passion to do something like that? And my mom would start talking about that. Yeah, I remember that. That was really helpful. What gave me strength was that I was thinking this. And so in the process of my mom thinking about the things that she did and realizing how much I appreciated, she would just be smiling and she would just be so happy. So that's one of the way that you can create a peaceful atmosphere for your loved ones when they have been diagnosed with terminal illness. It's a difficult time for them. One of the wrong things to do is to continue expecting from them. So let's say your loved one has been the strong one, creating peace for the family. Um, or what I've seen some people do is, let's say they have been upset with their parents and they've been away for years because they have been upset. And when they learn that their loved one is diagnosed with terminal illness, that's the time they want to come and bring up the things that were done wrong. And at that time, your loved one may not have the energy to deal with the things that they didn't do right in the past. So, having kindness and compassion in your heart really helps. We all make mistakes. Maybe your parents have made mistakes, or your siblings, whoever they are that is dealing with terminal diagnosis. Maybe they made a mistake. When you know that they have been diagnosed with terminal illness, If you have held it for years, surely this is now the right time to come and be making them to do the hard work of dealing with or looking back to, oh, you did this to me, and these kind of conversations are not edifying. So instead of that, come with compassion. Realize if you are not the one sitting on that seat of terminal illness. Come with love, come with compassion. What can I do to help this person have a peaceful end? So that's the time you probably want to bring the fruits, and also recognize they may not be at a position to eat much. So you can ask them, what do you feel like eating right now? And try to get those things that they feel like eating and bring those things to them. Whether it's juices. Now, when someone is terminally ill, their organs start to shut down. The digestive system starts to shut down slowly by slowly. So they may not be able to eat as much. So making sure that they have the things they enjoy the most, and making them. I remember my mom, she loved to eat eggs. That was like some of the last things she wanted to eat. And there was a specific way she needed her egg to be cooked. And we all had to learn exactly how she wanted that egg to be cooked. Soft, little runny. That's how she wanted it done. That's how it was going down better for her. And so we all had to learn how to make the egg perfectly the way she wanted it. And that was part of creating that peaceful atmosphere to not make her feel like, oh, I wish I could get up in my pain and go into the kitchen and make this egg for myself the way I want it. So just simple things like that. The other thing is um oh my goodness, I think I had an appointment this morning. Okay, so the other thing is you can play music that um that your loved one like. You can play music and also ask them, would you like music right now? Sometimes a person might love music, but they might not be feeling like listening to music at that time. So when you are a family, trying to sense what works now, what doesn't work now, is very beneficial to your loved one. Um, I am so sorry. I had an appointment this morning that I had forgotten about, but I would like to continue this conversation. So, creating a peaceful atmosphere for your loved one. Um, I can log back on in the next half hour and we can continue this conversation. Thank you for joining me. This is a very important subject that I'm hoping that we can see. Just anyway, we'll see you in a